Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Garage Time TV. I am Marshall, and today we're going to be jumping back on our 1972 Fiat 850. Now, our very first episode, we did a good walk around of this, showed where some of the rust damage is, but I never really got a chance to get up underneath it. So I did have a chance to do that, and the rust is a little bit more present than I would like. But it's something we're willing to fix. I had also mentioned that we weren't going to do a whole lot of crazy metal work, and I'm just going to fix it the way it is, and we're going to move on with our life. And one of the comments on that video was, why don't you challenge yourself and do some metal work and see what you can come up with, and just show your followers or your viewers or whatever that you can do something a little bit different. And you know what? Challenge accepted. We're going to do that. So I've gotten a lot of scrap metal pieces from the house, brought my grinder, I have a welder here, so we're going to do a lot of tack welding, and then we're going to use our reinforced fiberglass stuff to kind of fill some gaps. I am no professional welder, so please do not take this with absolute professionalism that I'm doing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this up. It also helps that the car can get up and in my face, so I'm not on my knees welding, so I can actually stand and lift it to height. So I think we'll start here on the passenger side. It's just what I'm closest to, and we'll show some of these spots, and then we'll see if we can start patching some stuff in. I do have some rust reformer spray to really stop the rust that is present. So we're gonna knock some of that on there too as we open up these panels to expose it. We'll treat it on the inside, and then we'll put some new stuff down. So let's take a look at what we're gonna start working on first. So this is the first side we're gonna work on. This is where the previous owner was going to start doing some repairs themselves, and it's just so thin that his welder was so big it was just blowing stuff through it. So there are some factory holes here from the trim that goes on there, but we're going to start we'll work on his piece first, and then we'll come over here. We'll probably cut out a little piece here and trim that in, let that get secure, and then we'll come to the outside. It looks like he tried to fill in some of that with just weld, so maybe we can get away with some of that too. But I've got some material here. So we've got different stuff. I do have some galvanized stuff. The only thing is we have to grind the galvanized coating off of it so that it doesn't create like a weird weld. So I've used it on a lot of stuff, and galvanized won't rust, which is great. But you can see galvanized versus non. So I've just got some scrap stuff here, some leftover floor pan pieces, from other stuff that are already kind of pre-bent, and then maybe we can recreate this pinch weld, because it's mostly gone here. So maybe we do one side, and then when we recreate this, we do it as like a 90 to recreate this pinch. But let's start here, and then do this patch first and see what we can start coming up with, and get this up in our face. So since we've got this in our face, I'm just gonna take a piece of paper. You can take like poster board or something, and I'm just gonna set it over there. Just kind of hold it, and I'm just gonna rub the edge. Try and have like a dirt line or a crease, something like that, so I can just take it with some scissors or a blade or something and trace it out. So you can kind of see that dark line on there, so we're just gonna cut that out. Actually really close, cool. We're just gonna take a blade, trace that out, and we're just gonna transpose this onto metal, and we'll start tacking that in. So we've got our piece of paper trimmed out here. I'm just gonna take a Sharpie and trace it on this piece of scrap. I'm gonna go a little big, because I'd rather just cut it big and then trim to fit a little bit, because we've got a flapper disc, so we can trim it down little by little and what needs to be fit in. And that is our magical piece, supposedly at least. So then we're going to plug in our grinder here and get this piece cut out. All right, so we've actually got a pretty decent fit in here. Had to size it up just a little bit, but pretty decent fit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray some of that rust reformer stuff inside of there, and then we're gonna put some tacks on this just to kind of hold it in place. And it should get down in there. And there we go. Really coat it. So that way we can get some stuff down in there. Anyway, we're gonna ground this up here and hope that works. And this thing has already fallen in on me twice, so I'm gonna get the gloves and the welder here. And we're going to turn this on. Oh good, it didn't trip a breaker. That's a good start. And then we're gonna weld it on there. I've got the settings on here to 16 gauge, which is, you know, sure, that'll work. Need the gun. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna just hold this in here, kinda, sorta. I've got these fancy magnets, but they don't really, you know, help a whole bunch, especially if they're really weak or something, you know. Because the bottom side, the back side fits a little bit better. So if I go something like that, well, that won't help.
Many hours later.
We are now good to tack this in there. And really we're just gonna go to Tack City and just tack, tack, tack all the way around, because we're trying to spread the heat. We want to make sure we don't get too much heat in one spot or it'll warp. So let's actually go. Oh, don't do that. And no ground. Great. Gotta find another one. Is that enough? We'll see. That's not what I wanted. Well, it moved on me, but it's there. I can at least, I think, work with it. No, I can't work with that, let's be honest. How about that? Nope, that's not good either. It's like sunken down in there. Break that. Come with me. All right, you guys get the concept. We're just gonna do this and I'll bring it back when it's decent-ish looking.
1 hour later.
So we've got a few welds on there, and you can see why. This is why I don't do it. But we had to fill that big hole anyway. So that was something on our to-do list, so we had to do it. But you can see there's holes, still big ones. You can see where it's getting blown out, just because it's so thin in those areas for the rust. And we've got it lightly tacked on the inside of the lip there, but it is just brutal. And you can see why I don't do it. So we're just gonna continue finishing this one. And then we've got this. So I'm gonna see if I can, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to do another piece here, and you can already see all the rust underneath this quick shot of paint. It is just so thin here. And that doesn't help. So we're just gonna keep trucking away here. You do not wanna watch me weld. But we'll make some progress, and I'll bring you guys back as we're making, you know, headway. But I'm just going to tell you, it's not going to be something you're really going to want to look at, but you want to challenge me to do it. Here we are doing it. We've got our second patch in. This one was a lot better. We still need a few more tacks on there, but that one is super solid. It's hot. And this one has some weird corners on it, a little bit more, you know, but that big stuff is gone. It's out of there. It's, I mean, it passes the test. So it's on there. Just not the prettiest, so I think what we'll end up doing is just doing a little bit of grinding on those to get the heads off of them after we get a few more tacks. And then I think we'll move to the other side. Little stuff like this, I'm just gonna fill it in. Because you can It's hard maybe for the camera to pick up, but it is just absolutely pitted all the way, and we're going to be chasing this whole thing. It's like we should have just cut this whole thing out and put a whole nother one in if we could. But we're going to go over to this side, see if there's anything really severe like that here. That little bit there, that little bit there, but I know we've got the floors, so I'm not going to worry about this. I'm going to move on to underneath the pedal there. I've got a nice big clean sheet that should fit that. It's going to be this one here. So I think what we'll do is we'll lap weld it, so we'll overlap it like this and then tack along it. That way we have plenty of good material to tack to, and we're not going to be blowing a bunch of holes. It's going to be under carpet, it's going to be underneath all that stuff, so I just want something welded there. We'll treat it and everything, but I'm not going to graft it in perfectly smooth like it was never there. We're just going to lap weld it with probably a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch overlap after we treat it, and then we'll get that all cut out to shape too. All right, so we made our way around. So we've got these two in, nice and cool. So those are done. We've got our big patch over the floor there. So it's on top of it, it's molded to the floor. We've got tack welds all the way around it, that one's done. We just need to finish up this one here and treat that, because there's that one hole there. And then I think we can bring in our filler to at least get this taken care of. That way we can kind of just move on to the painting stage of stuff. I already did a test piece, this piece as a test piece, and it turns out really, really good. So I'm excited to get the rest of this painted. I just want to get these repairs done. There is a repair that's pretty important that we're going to have to get done underneath, but I think I'm going to take it home to get it done because it's going to be this support, which is one of the X frames of this thing, and if this is gone, then you're not in a good place. So we just need to replace this little section on the underside, and it'll be back to normal. But I think I need to do that at home because I have my bench vise and some other stuff. So we're going to keep finishing on this, then we're going to grab our filler and start working on some of these smaller sections that I'm just going to put stuff in, and then we can what in the world? Oh, is there a screw on it? There is a screw in it still. So then we're going to start filling this stuff in to make it look better, sand it smooth, and then we're going to start attacking the body later. But I at least just want to get the stuff filled in so that the stuff can sit. So keep trucking away, making some progress.
The next day.
All right, so we're out here a little early. We've been sanding away on some of our filler. I want to show you guys kind of what we're working with, where we're at. We're just going to call this good. I know that there's a lot of you that are going to be a little upset with it, but look, we're trying to get this car on the road, running, driving, enjoying it. And you know, if we want to come back in the next 5-7 years and really go back and really correct these things like to the T, then yeah, of course we can do that. But let me show you what we're working with right now, and then we're going to move on to some more work on the outside. So we brought out the sander. We got a lot of this knocked down nice and smooth, just trying to build up this lip a little bit. We're not going to get this, we're not going to get that. This is all inside the door here. When you open the door, you're probably not even going to see that. It is treated though. We got a lot of this treated again, just to make sure that's all taken care of. We have some sound deadener coming in, so we're going to cover all this up with that. This is not structural here. This bar is, so as long as this is in good shape here, and then along as well as on the bottom side, we should be okay. We come over to this side, and same thing. We sanded this down, filled in a lot of those small gaps, a little gap here, not going to worry about it, super close in. The last things we have are going to be here, and then again on the other side. I think I can just sand this flat with some like 80 grit and then go up and make it smoother and blend it. On the other side, I know we have a hole. The other thing we have is this dent right here, which of course it's double layered there, so I can't get into that. So that one may have to stay. Maybe we put a little bit of filler on that and call that a day. But on this side is the other spot we've got to look at. So there is where dirt gets in here and just absolutely eats this. You know, it's a big curved piece. Maybe we can get something in from the back side to just kind of support it, and then we'll do a skim coat on it and sand it smooth. You know, it'll be nice being on the lift. We can actually lift this up and do it in our face and get a little bit more into it. But My thing is, like, if I cut this hole out, I'm gonna have to bend it to fit. I think if we support it from the back side, maybe we can get some tacks in here to actually hold it in place. Of course, we need to treat all this first, and then see if we can bend that back up and then skim over that. So there's still work to do, but we are making progress. I still want to take the hood off, and then I want to start masking stuff off because I want to start sanding the car down. I want to remove this. We need to take these off. We'll probably end up taking this cowl off and sanding down a lot of these rough edges, these little scratches and stuff out of it, because that will show through the paint. Some of the stuff, not a big deal. Like, this is all going to be covered by the headlight and everything. Not super worried about that. Want to see if we can get to this dent, maybe from the inside. When we remove the hood, we'll look at that. So we're still making headway here. Again, this is not going to be a concourse restoration. I just want to start moving on to where we can start painting some pieces, and I can start showing you guys some color on this thing.
Several days later.
Man, it's been probably 2 or 3 days. We've been constantly sanding on this thing, and you can tell it's got some different stripes on it. But what we've done is we've done 80 grit over the whole car, knocked down a lot of stuff. There's a lot of chips in this old respray paint. So we dug those chips out and feathered it as best we could. And then we went around here recently and did a little bit of small touch-ups. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you around the car, still a couple places that we're working on. But it's starting to really come together. So we did 80 grit, 120, and then we came on top of it with a 220 to really try and smooth it out, so at least we don't see a bunch of sandpaper lines when we go to spray the paint. So let me show you guys kind of some of the work that we're doing on here. So we'll start here in the front. We had that little dent. There's a couple dents here. We sanded it down. It's still in there pretty deep, so we're letting this stuff set up so we can actually sculpt it a little bit. We were not able to get down underneath there to punch it out without doing a whole bunch of chipping and damaging of stuff. So we're working on that. The entire hood is all sanded. This green that you see is a self-etching primer. So if there's little tiny pinholes, that primer will actually fill those little gaps and really help make a difference. Still have a little chips here and there, but a lot of this was severely chipped. You may remember there was this big black stripe on there from like self-sticking like 3M style trim. That is all off. Just a little small holes there, but that's all taken care of. On this side, working our way around. Some little bit bigger pinholes that we had to touch up, so we're gonna let that dry. But this patch here really blending really well. You wanna make sure you put the primer first. The body filler will soak that up, hence why you can see the outlines on there. We did not do anything in the engine bay. I'm not super worried about this. We'll do a good degreasing spray in this, and then we'll just shoot it. We'll probably pull out these grommets or not. You know, I'm not super worried about it. Probably this one. This will probably tape off, even though it's super old. I may find something online to replace that with. Come around this side, this is where all that gray primer was. A lot of it was just shot on top of it. So there was a good chunk of previous body filler on here. Just a couple small holes that we had to fill in. Here I did find some deep waves on right on the body line. You can kind of see there's a kink there. So we're trying to at least straighten those two out, so at least we have a smooth line. A lot of this cleaned up. Again, more of it. Not absolutely perfect, but it looks a heck of a lot better. We had one small hole there. Really, really nice turning out. It's good enough for what it's for, right? We're not trying to make a trophy winning car. We just want it to look halfway decent. When you're standing, 10 feet away, be like, yeah, that's a good looking car. And that's really all we're going for. So we're gonna let a lot of this cure, give it about 15, 30 minutes to really start hardening up. We'll come back to a final sand on that, and then we'll take it over to the car washing stations where we will hose this whole thing down to get all of the dust off of it. We'll start bagging this stuff and tagging it so we can get it all put away. We'll start taping off any sort of pieces. This can probably come off. Tape off the glass, any sort of little stickers, we'll tape those off. The wiring harness, we'll put it in a big bag and tie it up. Tape off some of this, pull this out, just some little stuff like that. That way we can be ready to paint it, because I'd love to have it painted here probably tomorrow is my goal. We don't have good weather right now. I'm hoping it'll lighten up so we can get out there and actually put some color on this thing and start making some reassembly progress. So not too bad, but let's finish up some of these patches, and then we'll move over to the car washing stations. Okay, so after some minor corrections, we got this thing hosed down, a lot of dirt and dust out of it. We do need to do a little bit of vacuuming in the front trunk area. There's still a little bit of debris and stuff, a little bit of overspray that came out on this, but what I really want to do is let this thing drip dry to get a lot of the moisture out of it. But what I think we're going to do is start moving on to painting, which means that we need to mask this off, get it all ready to go. What I would like to do is get this in one solid color of primer. I don't think the Rust-Oleum is going to have any problem making this one color, but I want to have an extra layer on a lot of any filler we have, because that will just soak it up. So we want to make sure we have that fully covered. Any of these bare metal spots, I don't want them flash rusting, so we want to make sure we cover everything with a primer coat, and then we'll start taping. But I'm going to save that for the next episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. I want to make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Really helps make projects like these continue to keep happening. You never know what we're going to come across to, because this was not something I really was, fully expecting, kind of, sort of. So make sure you guys do that over on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you follow me there. You'll get a lot of behind the scenes stuff that doesn't always make it onto the videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you.